Saturday story time. Ta-da! And I thought I would start a new spot to tell you. This is not a make-believe story that I'm going to tell today, but it's something that happened to us in about 1971. We had moved onto a ranch from a brand new house and 10 acres to 230 acres and an old house and a completely different life. And somehow we weren't ready for the change. And we made a couple of moves. We were trying to find our spot again. This was in Idaho, but Tom had found a job as a maintenance man for a small college in Oregon, a private college. And so we were moving. The college could stay, as said we could have permission to stay in the girls' dorms that summer until we found our home. Well, we were finding it a little difficult to find a place. We had 4 children, and it seemed like all of a sudden homes weren't built big enough. And so we were looking and searching, and one day our daughter and Tom went for a ride and found this place, and then they came and got me, and Tom and I went to look at it. So there I was in the upstairs of this deserted house. There were cracks that you could see outside. There was a dead bird on the floor. The floor had over the years filled with dust and silt and dirt. And I said to Tom, "Do you really think you can make this old house into a home?" And he confidently said, "Yes, I can." And with that, I cheered up a bit. I knew if he said he could do it, he could do it. And so what we really bought was a beautiful 2 acres and this old deserted house. It was a traditional farmhouse style 2-story with a steep roof and the porches. And it had started out to be a beautiful home, but what had happened is the man that was building it, his wife was pregnant, and he was building it for them and their new baby. Well, something went wrong when she delivered, and she bled to death, and the baby died. And heartbroken, he deserted the house, and then it came into the hands of a family that had a new house, and they wanted to sell it, but no one wanted to buy it. And until we came along. And we found out that really they were planning in the next week, if no one picked up that property, the fire department was going to come and have a practice burn and burn down the house. But we came along. And you know what? I fell in love with that old house.
And we paid very little money for it.
What we paid for was the 2 acres. Yes. And
Or the
Tom?
price on the house, I'm saying, was.
oh yeah. And anyway, Tom, I can remember, he started on that upstairs first, and because it had never been finished, it was easier to insulate it, put on the sheetrock. And our older son, I remember, he missed the cracks in the wall and the birds being able to fly through. And so when it was on the process of being done, he was a little disappointed. But then this house, you walked into the kitchen first, and what I saw on my first walk through were some cabinets that looked like the man wasn't sober when he built them. But they had wonderful door pulls. The handles, oh, I just loved them. I fell in love with the handles. It was those old-fashioned kind that are just like pulls that you see in old hardware stores and things. And it had big bins, and the bins were lined with tin. I think they were to hold flour and sugar, and I don't know what else. I think there was
Tin or sheet metal.
sheet metal.
Yeah.
Okay, not tin, sheet metal. And I'm not sure, there might have been 3 of them, I'm not sure. At least there was 2. And I can remember we remodeled the kitchen last. Oh, the sink took up half of the wall. It was a deep sink, just one single sink, and then it had a white enamel drain board, and it was a cast iron sink. It was big, and it had a window over where the stove would go. There was not a window right over the sink, but off to the side you could look out, and it had a back porch, and I can remember I painted them blue, the cupboards, and anyway, and I put some curtain, a curtain thing under the sink, and when I got done, people would walk in and say, "Oh, isn't this charming?" And I forget how long it took us. We had to clean it out, sweep it out, clean it out. I think we got some flooring put down before we moved in, but it wasn't long. We were always working on it, and I can remember lots of college kids would come up and help us on Saturday to restore this house. One boy's name was Ralph. Oh, he was such a character. And it was just, when I look back, there's a few places that I wish we'd never moved from, and this was one of them. I just fell in love with this place, and we lived there maybe 12 or 15 years, even though we've moved a lot. This place we stayed in quite a long time. Our daughter got married in the yard of this place. And our kids, this is where my nest emptied. So this was a wonderful place, but it required a lot of work. We had some old paneling that somebody had put in the living room. We redid some of that, took it off, did something else, but some of it I just wallpapered over the top of it. I think we did something to fill in those little, the panelings have the little dips and whatnot. I think I may have put something over that and then wallpapered. And I can remember, this is in Oregon, out our east windows, we could see Mount Jeffrey,
Jefferson.
if it wasn't cloudy. And when the north wind blew, it was cold, and it blew right onto the side that had the plumbing for the bathroom. And twice it froze all of the pipes in there. The first time it did it, Tom was able to go in, because he had to take the siding off. He insulated it really heavy. The next time he went in, it froze even with all that insulation, and I forget what he did then, but it happened twice. And it was a big bathroom, I can remember that. And for some reason, I had my washer and dryer in there, but that was apt to be a gathering place. I can remember sitting on I think I was sitting on top of my washing machine. There were kids all over, our kids, some leftovers. We were, I mean, not leftover kids, but kids that came and joined ours. And we were all visiting and laughing and talking. And then I don't know why it was there, but it seemed to be a gathering place. And the 2 acres was beautiful. We got our first goats there because it was full of blackberry bush brambles, and they certainly cleaned them off. And it was a very picturesque place. It was a place where our 2 youngest sons, well, I'll tell you that next time. I'm going to end right here. So that's my Saturday story. I hope you enjoyed it. It was nice for me to enjoy going back there. And there you have it.